My name is Tom Walters. I'm an assistant professor of kinesiology at Westmont College. Because of where we live, we were evacuated during the Thomas fire, so I think like a lot of people, we just thought it's probably just going to be a little bit of rain, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but we decided because we were in a mandatory evacuation, we would evacuate, and so we just went to a hotel down the road, the Montecito Inn. I have two daughters, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, Reese and Taylor, and Kirsten got there after our girls had taken showers, so we carried them into the hotel room without shoes on, which ended up being a major problem the next day. Around 3 a.m., the alarms in the hotel started going off. The lights and just the sound of the alarms, it was, extremely loud. So the power went out and then those alarms went off. And no flooding at that time, just a little bit of rain, but the fire was huge. And it turned out that the fire was on our street, just a couple houses down from our house, which I didn't know at the time, but the fire was basically lighting up the sky, and I just wanted to get out of there. So I was trying to find somebody with keys to the valet box, and then couldn't find that person, so I was contemplating just breaking the valet box so we could get our cars out of that back parking lot and just leave the hotel. Fortunately, that didn't happen. Probably just a few minutes, 5 minutes after trying to get my keys, there was you could hear a car coming down Olive Mill, and it ended up being a police officer. So he turned onto Coast Village and flipped a U-turn right in front of the hotel and basically just screamed at us, "Go inside, the flood is coming." Those were his exact words. And so we scooped the girls up and ran up to the 3rd floor. As we got up there and looked out from the breezeway was when the flood started. So it literally went from a fire lighting up the sky and almost silence. The sound and the intensity and how much water was coming and the length of time that it lasted. I grew up, in Montana, so it reminded me of what whitewater rapids would look like. Our girls, they were interested and curious in seeing it at first, but it instantly, they just started shaking. It was just sort of like a uncontrollable shaking. So they ended up going back in, and Kirsten sat with them, and Kirsten's crying, and people are coming out of their hotel rooms, and everybody are up on, a lot of us are up on the breezeway, and everybody's kind of feeling the same thing. So this is around 1 p.m. on Tuesday. So about half an hour after looking out that door and kind of making eye contact with him, the National Guard came, and the Montecito fire chief was there to greet us and basically told us to line up, and they were going to help get us out of there. And so it was so cool. He carried my oldest daughter out, and then we all just kind of walked out into the National Guard truck. We had no idea what was going on with campus. Finding out that Westmont basically made it through the Thomas fire and through the mudslides without any real damage, and campus was basically, basically left untouched. We were just so thankful for and grateful for God's faithfulness and just God looking over Westmont and the campus and the community, considering all the things that Westmont's been through in the past. The ways that I think the Westmont community can just so naturally serve the Montecito community is just based on who people are at Westmont. The fact that we put our faith in Jesus and His Word, I think along with that sort of, it brings about this sort of innate sense of hope